This is London Zoo. London Zoo is located in the northeast corner of Regent's Park and was first opened in April 1826 and has a huge range of animals, birds and reptiles. The original intention of the zoo was for the scientific study of the animals, but was subsequently opened to the general public 2 years later in 1828. The zoo currently holds around 14,000 animals, fish and reptiles and does an annual head count, a biological stocktake, to make sure none of the animals are missing. The official name for the zoo is the Zoological Society of London, or ZSL for short, and was founded by Sir Stamford Raffles, who, along with being the founder of modern-day Singapore, was also a keen biologist and botanist. Sadly, he died just a few months after the opening of the zoo in July 1826 at the age of just 45. Nowadays, the zoo has over 1 million visitors per year and is one of the top tourist attractions in London. This video will tell the story of one of the darkest days in its history. This is the story of the World War II massacre of London Zoo. On the 3rd of September 1939, Britain declared war on Germany as a result of the invasion of Poland, and the Second World War began. At 11 a.m, the government ordered London Zoo to be closed to the public, and the zoo management and keepers began to put into action the plans they had been preparing for months should war break out. The zoo was anticipating bombing raids by the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, and knew that London would be one of its main targets. The tanks of the aquarium were emptied and the most valuable fish were moved to non-display tanks in the tortoise house, where any glass was taped up to prevent shattering. Some of the carp were released into Three Island Pond in the zoo grounds. Most of the larger animals, such as the giant pandas, Asian elephants, orangutans and an ostrich, were relocated to Whipsnade, a sister zoo outside of London which was regarded as safer than central London and was less likely to be bombed. However, there was a substantial number of venomous animals, such as snakes, spiders and scorpions, that would pose a serious risk to the general public if their enclosures were damaged during a bombing raid and they escaped. The difficult decision was taken by the zoo management that all venomous animals should be humanely destroyed to protect the general public. In one night, hundreds of dangerous creatures were slaughtered by zoo staff. It is well known that zookeepers form emotional attachments to their charges, no matter how deadly they may be, so this massacre must have been a horrific task to carry out. However, some of the larger dangerous reptiles were spared from the slaughter. Alligators and Komodo dragons were also moved to Whipsnade Zoo, along with 2 huge Burmese pythons. London Zoo was not alone in slaughtering their animals. After war had been declared, the British government issued a pamphlet recommending that people either move their household pets to the countryside, or, failing that, having them humanely destroyed. This was due to fears of food shortages and concerns that food for humans would be given to the animals. Most people did not have the option to relocate their pets and chose to have them put down, with instructions on how to achieve this included in the pamphlet. There was a horrifying slaughter of 750,000 dogs, cats and other animals in the space of 7 days in September 1939. Feeding the remaining animals at London Zoo was also a problem, even those who were on a vegetarian diet. With most food produce now reserved for the human population due to rationing, the zoo put out a public broadcast requesting donations from the public, mostly of acorns, to feed the monkeys, deers and squirrels. The zoo started a new scheme, an Adopt an Animal scheme, where the general public were given the chance to donate to the upkeep of an animal of their choice. So successful was the scheme that it's still in operation today in London and also in many zoos around the world. The zoo was hit many times by bombs during the Blitz, and amazingly, none of the remaining animals were killed during the bombing raids. However, a zebra did manage to escape at one point and was heading towards Camden Town before she was caught and returned back to the zoo. As most of the animals were now relocated to Whipsnade, the zoo felt they were now safe from bombing raids. Unfortunately, the Luftwaffe began to target the nearby towns of Luton and Dunstable, and during the raids, around 41 bombs were dropped on Wibstade Zoo. Fortunately, there were very few casualties amongst the animals, and evidence of the bombing raids can still be seen today, as the bomb craters have been converted into ponds for the penguins. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and check out the other videos on the Offbeat London channel.